Hey everyone, welcome back to Episode Club, if that's what it becomes tonight. We're going to be talking kind of Stranger Things. Um, we've kind of had, it's me by myself as of right now. Someone may pop in, but yeah, we're going to kind of talk about Season 3, Chapter 3, the case of the missing lifeguard. But before we decide that, we're going to just say hello to everybody in the chat and all that fun stuff. So we have, oh, yeah, we have Fandom joining us, but joining us in the chat is Johnny Be Crazy. Feel better, my friend. I just hope you feel much, much better. Bravosely Broadcast, Dark Mother, Danny McKay, and the man himself, Fandom DC, who is always Team Dustin. So,
Of course, Dustin did nothing wrong. Hey, how you doing? I pretty much just got back in, running upstairs quickly. I'm like, okay. She says she's about to go start the stream. Let me hurry up.
no, it's okay. I would have saved time for a bit. I'd just be like talking random stuff, but it's okay. Thank you uh, for for joining me today. This episode. It's an interesting one to kind of talk about because we explore more of Elle's powers in this episode. Um, yes, Provosy broadcast with the sand uh, emojis, the lemon and the turkey. Um, yeah. So, um, introduce yourself, fandom. If no one knows who you are, I feel like everybody knows who you are in this
I
chat.
know, right? People should already know. I've been on the channel for how many times? But hey, if you're new or just like, learning upon Mackenzie channel for the first time, I am Fandom DC. And I mainly do like reactions to several TV shows on my channel. One of them being Stranger Things Season 3. Can't wait to talk about this episode. And there was some great Dustin moments here, as it should be, And come on with the damn, what is it, turkey leg, chicken leg? Now I'm hungry. Come on now.
Yeah, yeah. It's a for Bravosy broadcast. Erin, uh, she's a San person, so gotta gotta use the emojis. And yes, Danny McKay, there's dishes in the background. I told people we were doing a live stream today. I just want to keep doing dishes, but
Oh, that's pretty much me sometimes when I'm like recording. I think it's either my father or just like, washing dishes randomly. He hates a full or even like a simple fork in the damn dish and you just can't. And he has to clean it no matter what.
it's it yeah, the dishes. Um, and even though Johnny can't join us tonight, he's still calling you Fandom D Bird Flu.
Ah,
That's
damn it. It needs to end. Something good else happened to me at this point so I can get a new name. I'm tired of this damn bird flu.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like the kitchen, it's always a problem. But in this is like our kind of second kind of we're in the third episode, but it's kind of our second chapter in this kind of story arc because with Stranger Things, they kind of do like two episodes that usually meld together very well. And this is starting the next basically two episode arc that makes this chapter. So
It
we
does
kind
make sense. We got like 8 episodes this season, and like every so often, like episodes just meld together to the point that hell, you just can't just watch like one episode a day. You gotta
of
watch them all.
yeah, you gotta watch at least two. That's the thing. So that's what made doing the catch up for this so much easier because we did like at least two episodes. So because most of the stories intermingle with one another, and in this one we get Max and 11 basically using 11's powers to spy on uh, Lucas, Mike, and uh, Will. And they kind of just talk about how girls are from a different species, that they'll never understand them. Girls are basically so stupid, and all that stuff. While having a sleepover and playing the non-traditional version of Spin the Bottle. It's almost like L. It's like, okay, who do you want to tap into? Whose memory mindset, sorry, you want to tap into? Um, and first they have the boys, and then they go to Billy. So, what do you think about the more of the girl chat and the sleepover and using Eleven's powers for probably good in the end?
And the end justified the means of it. But when it was happening, I said to myself, Mike, if you know that you're dating someone who at any point in time could just eavesdrop on your conversations and such, be wary of what you say. And even when she even like eavesdropped in their conversation and just hearing them, like, one, again, women are still like a mystery. And then who was it? I think it was like Mike who passed gas or so. I'm just like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
Enough is enough now, though. But yeah, then they, decide to like go and, eavesdrop on someone else. And it happens upon Billy, which, okay, now the mystery begins as to what the hell happened. At least, well, we, the audience, know what happened, obviously, but they don't know. And this is going to be like on the case for the missing lifeguard and like what truly happened to her. And what's wrong with Billy, damn it?
Exactly. What's wrong with Billy? And I like how 11 is, or not 11, Max goes to 11 and it's like, if you see Billy basically in a compromising position with
I
the
know.
girl, just sleep. Because, Elle's
I'm
very nice.
guessing Max must have like stepped in and, one of her brother was pretty much having sex or something at this point.
It must have been something to that degree. Um, or she can just probably imagine that, probably, yeah, that might have been part of the weird thing of what happened in California, because we still don't exactly know, besides like what happens much later in the whole reason why Billy and Max become family comes later in the season, but we don't know exactly what led them to move out of California, really. So it's like,
I had a theory, but it never got confirmed. So when we get to that episode, do remind me. Matter of fact, I'll just write it down just in case you even remember.
Billy, as Johnny says, Billy got that tiny D and big nipples. I slept with him last year. Oh, Jesus. Yes, for both the podcast, Johnny does kiss and tell. Just ask John St. Baptiste. That's just a joke, by the way. But yeah, Billy and they've Max in that whole situation. I still feel like there's something that we're missing. We're missing that key part of why they moved from California. Meanwhile, California does have small towns, but it's a big state. To go to the small town of, I don't know, even remember the number of people that live in this small town, and they just cement their life there, which is kind of crazy. But they obviously, with 11, she goes into this this state where she's able to see things, and she sees the lifeguard Heather. Finally remember what her name was. I was like, what is her name? Heather. And she's in a compromising position because she's like in a bathtub and then gets pulled underwater. I don't know if that's supposed to metaphorically mean something or not, because they go off. I think it's in the next episode. Yeah, they go off looking for Heather, but I'm like more of that circumstance because they go
wasn't
to.
this episode they went near the end of the episode? They went to like Heather's house, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, they do. They do. Yes, sorry, they do because they go to the pool, and then like it's raining. You can't go in the pool for at least half an hour after it finishes raining because it was like thundering as well. And oh my gosh, the manager at the pool was so stupid. It was just like, yeah, she kind of ditched me today. It's like, He must have been like a college student or something.
Yeah, about to say that, since I'm a teenager or just college student, just wants the money, so he's just here, doesn't care if his own freaking employees even coming in or not.
Yeah. And then the one girl, like, just sitting in the pool, like, in the office, just smacking her gum, just like, stop it. It's like, calm down. And then it also, wouldn't he try and call other people that work at the pool, like Billy or whoever doesn't work? That's like the three of those people that are just sitting there. It's like you think you try and call like rando number 6 that works at the pool or something like that, not just worry about Heather, which kind of makes me.
I gotta rewatch some scenes, see if there was like a now hiring sign or something, because it seems like there's just a shortage of people working there, really.
Yeah, because because 11 walks up to the board and she sees Heather's picture, because that's how she's able to
Mm-hmm.
call upon Heather's thing, which I'm not explaining this properly at all, but yeah, there was like at least 6 or 8 people that work at the pool, so it's like, come on. I know you're complaining about staff, so just call another one. Like, come on. But that, yeah, and basically that's where they see Heather, and they want to go to Heather's house. So Max and 11 in raincoats go, and that's where they find Heather's parents, one of who works at the newspaper with Jonathan and Nancy. I guess he's the boss. Yes,
Yeah,
he's
the
the
boss.
boss, and then the mother. And ooh, that whole sequence is just crazy. So do you want to talk about kind of that and um, the possessed Billy and Heather, who be then add more people to the mob mentality slash the mob blob.
I don't know where to begin. For starters, if I go to like someone's house and they offer me cookies, I'm gonna hesitate because I don't know if it was the cookies or the drink or whatever was actually, drugged in that dinner meal there, which was just crazy how it all played out. And in the moment the wife was like, "Oh, I'm getting like a headache or something," and then she just stands up and can be dazed, stay, and next thing you know, she falls. I'm like, "Oh, damn." They did drug us. A good thing Max and 11 like didn't eat the damn cookie because they could have just been on the floor and then being taken. But another point, oh my gosh, I just like freaking lost it. Where Billy, and I believe this was the episode where he like looks out the window and he starts beginning to like notice and starts to remember who 11 is and such.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like just when he's trying to be secretive, he pretty much like begins to like begin to plot and plan. It's like, okay, I know who 11 is, and it's time for that revenge, which we're gonna pretty much be seeing in the next few episodes.
Yeah, because I think he remembers her from that state that we were kind of talking about with Heather. I think that's the only way he would remember her is through that mental minefield sort of
Oh
thing.
yeah, and the finale of season 2 when she was trying to expel him from like the
Yes.
mind flare from leaving. There we go. I just
Mm-hmm.
call it the astro plane until they actually give us a true name for it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's yeah, that whole thing in season 2. Yeah, because it's weird to kind of go through and remember like who knows who and how does this connect to this storyline. Um, but yeah, 11 just opens the door, uh, and walks it when she like unlocks the lock with her mind and just like walks through, and then Billy's like, Max, what are you doing here? It's almost like, are you supposed to be together or what is this? Because it's like, because they're having like that stereotypical movie slash TV show, meet the parents kind of dinner.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, are you supposedly together, even though this relation, we as the audience know that this relationship was like never developed at all past maybe 1 or 2 sentences ever spoken to them besides the last episode where they talk for like maybe 5 minutes and it's not very much dialogue at all. So it's like, like I think Max would be able to kind of figure out that this girl of his is not like maybe his type. So it's good that I guess 11 has also Max there to kind of be like, is this normal? Is this how he normally acts? Um,
True,
yeah,
and she was
but
pretty much like defending like Billy throughout the episode because when Levin like brings up this clue and that clue, she pretty much just had an excuse for every single thing, like the ice. It's like, wait a minute, the thing like it cold, and she's like, oh well, I think it just works out and stuff. So it's like okay, and then it was like a trail of blood, and it's like, don't make up excuses. And it's still interesting because I'm guessing within what the conclusion of season 2 and the year gap that we pretty much haven't seen like what's the relationship between Max and Billy. She seemed just so forgiving and accepting of Billy more than previous seasons. So it just seemed a bit weird how she just kept defending him for every single like thing that was like against him.
yeah, and I think that's probably what will play into the later episodes of this is how maybe their relationship has changed. Because yeah, in season 2, it's like they hated each other's guts, and like now she's more sympathetic, which maybe it's because of what is revealed later or not. It's yet to be seen, but yeah, it is kind of strange. It's like, why did you turn Max's character in the I can defend Billy camp? It's like, what? Um, Now looking back at it, I think the ice tub makes me think that she must have been already dead or something like that, but then like somehow got brought back to life, or they must have did something with the tub of ice, because why does that, and like the whole thing with what's it called, the fanny pack or whatever, like with
Mm-hmm.
the blood on it, like something makes me think that someone died or something, like, or because some sort of bludgeoning must have happened, but the bludgeoning happened at that random factory, like the steel factory. So like, what was, unless that's supposed to be a metaphor for something, but they saw the ice tub. So now that makes me wonder, like, what's the connection here with the ice tub? Is that supposed to be
For the
realistic?
ice tub, it's just like for Billy because used to being, taken by the mind flare and it likes it cold. So I'm guessing like periodically he would just, just fill up the tub with ice and just, lay in there. But when it comes to like the bloody fanny pack, I'm guessing there could have just been a struggle when Billy
Yeah,
was taking Heather. So that could just be the blood from that. That's like the only way I can think of the blood situation.
yeah, because yeah, that's like the only way I can think about it, because she didn't have one on when she was when he like carried her to the blob, the thing that will eventually become the blob thing. Spoiler alert, not really spoiler, because
If you've
as
seen the trailers, you know it.
yeah, or as Fandom has pointed out, I think last week they made a Funko about it. So
Yep, they did. I'm not buying it unless it's like for $2 or $3. Thing looks atrocious.
yeah, it doesn't look very nice. Uh, the blob hashtag the blob thingy, yes. Um, and in this whole sort of dinner, they also have now Heather's parents as recruited to the blob mob, or the mob
Mhm.
of the blob, or whatever. Um, I guess now it makes me wonder if they were standing when Billy has like had the like 20 people behind him in the first 2 episodes. It's like, were they
Yeah,
there too?
it just seems like he was just planning it. Like he knew he needed someone to be like spearheading it, and that was going to be Billy. But the people behind him, he just didn't know. But the mind flayer just needed more people to, to possess, to control, to build the freaking blob thingy, as Johnny B. Crazy has put it in the live chat. That is going to create. That when I first watched it, I knew the guy looked familiar, Heather's father, but I couldn't remember where. And then the following episode, I was like, wait a minute. That's the freaking guy who works at the newspaper.
Yeah, yeah. The one that works at the newspaper, because yes, they needed like 5 or 6 characters that could be easily expendable. That we
Mhm.
basically know nothing about to join the blob. Um,
It is
and
good planning though. It's easily just to have, the boss just invite the coworkers over to a certain place, and the next thing you know, they're just gonna be taken.
yeah, it'd be that would have been if they had like extended it further and like tried to get like Jonathan or Nancy involved in that. I'd be like, wait, what? Even though
True.
um, something with
Even
them.
crazier, you get a summer school teacher, possess that summer school teacher, and just bring the kids along to like some type of field trip. Oh my gosh, this is
Yeah,
crazy.
the whole summer school thing makes me think it's like, did any of them actually go to school after what happened at the end of season 2? Because it's like I don't think Will's been at actual school in like months. Um, or whatever. So it's like, do they actually go to school? And same thing with like 11. 11 obviously doesn't go to school. So it's like,
No, I was hoping like they're gonna make some type of note like, oh, she goes to their school now, because it's been like over a year, right? But no, they didn't even mention that. So I guess she's being like homeschooled by Hopper. He has a teaching degree or something.
I guess so. Or he has those books that you can get at like Costco, and it's like here, like the practice.
Oh yeah.
It's like here. This is you get your English one, you get your math one, and you get your science one. This is all you got. Now learn. Um, because in season 2, it's just like her sitting on the couch watching soap operas all day. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's she should go to school. She's 13, or at least have some education of some sort. But who knows? Um, yeah, to get uh, which is basically that the end of Billy's sort of storyline for this episode is just that it gets wrapped up with the Tom and Heather thing, and they bring them to the Mind Flayer. That's kind of where we leave like 11 and such, but we'll go back because they kind of talk about it with. Oh no, this is an episode. The next episode when 11 brings up more of what they've said. But anything on like 11, Max, Billy, Heather, you want to bring up before we go, I guess, to Will and Mike and Lucas, or whatever?
No, we pretty much covered that portion of the episode, but it's good to know that we're getting like more scenes between Max and 11 to build up their relationship.
Yeah, Matt. Yeah, because neither of them really have a female friend that they can kind of go to. So it's nice that they have each other. I wonder if if we ever get Susie, wink wink, nudge nudge, that she could come and visit for like an episode or something, especially if they change up when the time set is for season 4. If it's like summer again, or if it's fall, something might happen. But I guess we'll go with just the boys before we talk about Dustin, your favorite. Basically, we get the boys just being the boys, and Will wants to play Dungeons and Dragons, and Mike and Lucas are like, no, we don't want to do that, blah blah blah. And this is where we also bring up with Mike when he says, I'm sorry that you don't like girls. So this really kind of brings in that element of what are they going to do, maybe with Will and his sexuality moving forward, because he's not, and also the discrepancy in missing a year, like Johnny has said, like Will's basically missed a year essentially of his childhood, or 6 months, like 6 months to a year of his life because of what has happened. So, what do you think about that? And hey, stop just saying the secrets.
Damn, that back and forth between Will and Mike. Like, Mike could have handled that conversation like way differently. But Will, if you just notice that you're playing D&D with your homies and they don't have any interest in it, just stop playing it and move along. Don't even have to find a new party. Just wait until they actually, have that motivation. You know what? Let's go play in D&D. But you pretty much just force it on them, and then it just ended abruptly. Then we have that scene where it's like, oh, you're not even like into girls, and I was like, wait a second. So what's gonna be the sexuality of freaking Will like in the next season of Stranger Things? Like you said, like are they gonna explore that, or are they just gonna just ignore that? And pretty much within this season, it's like they hardly did anything with Will. To some certain points, I'm just like, wow, is he going to have like any type of importance this season? So hopefully, maybe they can actually put that plotline within, season 4, and based on like another thing that happens later on this season, we can revisit this scene about something potential that could happen within season 4. But yeah, but it could have handled that just way differently. You didn't have to have that, conflict between the two, and then they just had that split. What you thought about it?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, because I remember us having this conversation a couple times of like when were they going to introduce the elderly character, which we'll talk about Mrs. Driscoll in a little bit, and when were they going to, even though this is a show based in the 80s, when they would bring up a character from the LGBTQ plus community, and if they were going to do anything with Will in terms of a relationship, what would they kind of do with that? They still haven't really explored that. I feel like they've kind of given that, not saying that this is a token, but they've given that sort of storyline to another character with exploring uh, their sexuality and how other characters interact with it. So I feel like they may make it's hard because it seems like either they'll have Will as with a girl, which they tried to kind of dabble with in
Yeah, in
season
the
2.
finale of season 2, yeah, because when he goes to that Hawkins dance and he dances with that random chick who I thought we're probably gonna see more of her in season 3 or something, but they just dumped that.
Mm-hmm. They would have. I'm surprised that they never really talked about what happened at the dance. Like, even though yes, it's like a year later, it's like they wouldn't have had like a thing of talking about what happened at the dance, or they would make Will some sort of asexual type character because of what has happened with him. That he feels like he maybe can't get romantically close to somebody because this is not going away. What's happening with Will, if it hasn't gone away in 3 seasons, it's not going away until probably the very last 2 episodes ever of this show. So they may have it where he can't, maybe that part of his brain, maybe, even though it's the same part of the brain usually, can't connect to somebody like that, or he can't like somehow let somebody else in like that aspect. Like he knows the people that he can have, and no new person maybe come in like that, or they just make him, like I said, a character who just doesn't have romantic feelings really for anybody, just enjoys the more familial aspect of it. But it also could be, like we've been saying, that he's just like not just delayed in that aspect of growing up. That he just doesn't know those feelings yet. But it was really harsh though of Mike to be like, oh, so because just because we like girls and you don't doesn't mean we don't, like blah blah blah. It's like, what does that have to do with anything? Just because you two are having girl problems because your girlfriends are getting on to you about your crap doesn't mean like you just like throw Will off to the side like he's nothing when it comes to that. But
So what we're all saying is they can kill Will and we wouldn't care.
basically, like it almost just seems like it's gone to that point, almost that like because they kind of because he was so important in season 1 and his kind of characters kind of shrunk in season 2 because of more engaging with 11 and getting her powers and all that stuff. And now it's like, shrunk again because everybody else's story is kind of growing. It's almost like you didn't give the, because essentially Will is the main character, even though people like to say that it's everybody, it's an ensemble cast. This story and all of its first season marketing is based off of Will disappearing, and you barely focus on him. That's a problem. Um, but you know me, is it? I don't. I'm never gonna get that fixed, but it just seems like he's the main character essentially, and
It's
he's not
true. The
focused
first
on it.
season, he was missing. Second season, we have him back, but the Mind Flare was trying to get control of him, which it did. And then within the season, it's like he was just there, still trying to get adjusted because, again, like we were saying earlier, because of the whole Mind Flare incident, it took pretty much, 6 months or so away from him. So, and just seeing how the season is not much it's targeted towards him. So it's like, it would have been nice if we actually had like a side subplot for him, like him trying to like understand like all these like, vibe moments of like, is this the Mind Flare? Is this not the Mind Flare? That would have been interesting.
Or have sort of more of a connection to what's kind of going on with Billy. Kind of have like, yes, you have 11 as like your mainstay, but then have like Will is your sort of in between almost, because Will can kind of jump between both. Not obviously far into 11's world, but jump between the two worlds. Um, and like we're kind of talking about, this kind of segues into kind of the last time we or what we see next of Will and Lucas is that and Mike, that Will has went to Castle Byers, and he sees remembers them playing Dungeons and Dragons and sees them dressed up as the Ghostbusters, but he has this pretty much emotional breakdown, probably because he doesn't remember them as Ghostbusters, or it's just a vague memory. Um, and he starts basically breaking down Castle Byers. Like when I
He did
first,
not have to do that at all.
yeah, they didn't have to do that. But what did you feel about that? Like, have you ever had like a moment where basically everything from your, even though you're not saying you broke a fort that you made, but um, like that moment of everybody's just kind of leaving you in the dust, and you're just like, why me? Um, Kind of thing.
Yep, I had one of those moments before, but I never like got a bat and start like trashing something. I just realized, you know what? I can just mope around at this for at least 5 or 10 seconds or so, but not destroy anything. And just get over with it. Because inevitably, we all just come back to each other and be like, you know what? I said some hurtful things. You said some hurtful things. We'll just move on. It pretty much did kind of happen, like within the very fact, literally within a few seconds. Because then he gets a vibe, and next thing you know, Mike and Lucas were pretty much heading towards him, and they said, "Oh, by the way, it's back."
Yeah, it's like it's back. It's like it took 3 episodes for you to say anything. It's like you should have said something when you were in the movie theater. But I guess it's to draw out the suspense. Um, yeah, they go to Will's house, and part of me, even though we'll talk about that when it comes to Joyce and Hopper, but it's like part of me thinks that Will knows that they're moving. Like I think we talked about this last week or the week before. But part of me thinks that they think that they're moving, um, and it just makes me wonder that why he maybe tore that down is because A, childhood's effectively over, and for real this time, and then B, because they're moving, so it's like all of those emotions coming
Oh,
up
I never
because
thought of it that way, honestly.
it comes up in this, um, because Hopper does say that he found out through Gary, who I believe owns the store that, yeah, he's the owner of the store where uh, Joyce works. It's like, if he knows, then if Hopper knows, then probably somebody else may know, because it's unclear if the kids know that they're moving. but Will, he can probably use his spidey senses and figure stuff out. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think that Will, and although it's addressed in this episode, Will knew that um, that their time together was coming to an end effectively?
That would make sense because it's like why he's been pestering them to play in D&D, because at a certain point they're gonna move, and it'll just be too late for them to play D&D together. So you have an excellent point there.
Yeah, and I tried to. Oh, yeah. It's just because I'm trying to rationalize in a sense why this hadn't happened. Because yes, it's because the childhood's over, but that's been a place for him. It's been a safe place for him. That's where he went when he was in the Upside Down. So it makes me wonder. It's just like losing that. Might as well just destroy it. And I guess no one ever found this hut sort of fort thing ever in Hawkins. Never reported it to Hopper because it's still standing there like 3 years later, or plus probably another 5 years. So it's like something crazy like that. But anyway, yeah, they all come back together, and basically what happens is that we get the boys back together minus Dustin. So we'll talk about Dustin for a bit now, and Dustin is with the teenagers, Robin and why can't I think of it? Steve. I was like, why can't I think of it right now? Steve, and they're still trying. They've decoded the message finally, and now they're just trying to figure out when they're going to strike. So, what do you think about the Scoops Troop that they sort of dub themselves? I don't know if it's in this episode or it's in the next one, but yeah. What do you think about Dustin, your favorite?
Yes, he is my favorite. And two, I just love this trio. And just seeing how it was like Robin was the one who even figured it out just shows that she's not just gonna be this throwaway character or whatever, that they figured out this one thing and then she's gonna go back to working behind the counter and just doing the ice cream stuff. But no, she's actually being more part of the freaking plot and being more active with Dustin and Steve, to the point that she figured out the whole so this is where they pretty much are gonna meeting up and stuff.
Yeah, and I think that because we obviously have Jonathan and Nancy separated from Steve, that we needed an additional teenage character to kind of balance that out almost. And in this too, they kind of talk about Robin, and Dustin's like, you should just go for her because she's nice. And then Steve's still has that high school dating mentality of, oh, she's does drama, she's not very popular, she's still in high school. And it's just what? It's you dated Nancy Wheeler, who by of season 1 wasn't very popular to begin with. She only had Barb really as her friend. So you think Robin, the one who works at the ice cream shop, who does drama, who's relatively not obviously the highest popular person, but still probably runs in a certain circle, has maybe a decent amount of friends. You don't want to try and explore that a little bit. I know this is it, but they don't really. They continue for a while to confer about the Robin's sexuality, I believe. And I have a behind the scenes kind of note about that, because but basically they didn't decide on the writers, they did not decide on Robin's sexuality, confirming her sexuality until the next episode.
That's interesting.
They were going back and forth. That's why Dustin and Steve have those conversations, because they didn't know when or I think it was like who they want, how they wanted to go with her character. I think that was what it was. I read that online somewhere, but yeah, they just
Because
didn't
within
know.
the first few episodes, it just seems like they're just hammering the thought of, yeah, it should be Robin and Steve. Let's see how it goes.
And yeah, it just kind of makes me go, It's like, so if they can't like decide on that before really going on, but it's cool that they do that. Yeah, they're trying to figure out. This is what is basically their entire thing is. The week is long. The silver cat feeds, and when blue meets yellow in the west. So now that they have that code, they're just scouring the mall for any sign of any Russian person, and they spot the stereotypical Russian that they can deduce, which is a blonde guy with long hair, sunglasses, and a gym bag. I think is what it is. And it's like, that's the Russian guy. And it ends up being um, a man who teaches jazzercise. Uh, did you fall for the fake out, or did you actually think that that was
I
too?
knew that was gonna happen. The moment they even like figure out the first person who even like had, what was it? I forgot what they were like looking for, a duffel bag or something, or
Yeah.
and I was like, it's gonna be fake out immediately. And we pretty much had that where you're just pretty much that aerobic instructor, whatever. I was like, really? Just really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like, yeah. Some people have uh, comments in the chat. Oh, Johnny said that Lucas is the best boyfriend in person in this series. Dustin is the Antichrist. Okay.
That is some blasphemy. Dustin is the best boyfriend. Then there's who's Nancy dating again?
Jonathan.
Jonathan? There we
Yeah,
go.
Jonathan.
You know, those are the pretty much the best ones. Lucas, way, 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 way low. Way low. Like seriously, get dumped like 5 times. Come on, Max.
In a month.
There's other fish in the damn sea now.
Yeah, it's like once a week you get dumped. It's like, good job. Good job. But that's like middle school relationships though. It's like you're together by first period, maybe break up during lunch, then you get back together near the end of the day. It's like that's what happens. It's just middle school and relationships. They're just always crazy like that. Um, but then Johnny comes back by saying that the best team of the season is Dustin, Steve, Robin, and Erica. It's like, yes, very true.
Very is true. He's like one of like the best actors, is with Dustin and Steve. I almost forgot his name. Yeah, those two are pretty much like, the best of the series. Then it's like Joyce and Hopper. And that's pretty much it for my top like favorite duos of this series, really.
Yeah, they pair they've the show. What they really have established well is pairing off characters and pairing them off correctly. Like like you're saying with Dustin and Steve, that's a great um, pairing, ha ha ha. And then you have with Hopper and Joyce, Jonathan and Nancy, even though they fight sometimes. I don't know if they fight in this episode or I can't remember exactly right now. Um, but they paired people very well together. Even um, like, or they do trios well too. Like they kind of do, but they lean like with Will, Mike, and Lucas, they kind of lean to obviously in the season more Mike and Lucas, but they do pairing off very well. A long tangent with that, um, and even with Robin and Steve, they do that
Mm-hmm.
pairing well um, together because it's that comedic relief that they provide uh, one another in this. Um, Aaron, this is why you have to watch Stranger Things. Um, it's awesome. I didn't start watching it until what, like 4 weeks, 8 weeks into or like 6 weeks till the show started. Like, come on, it's a good one, and good music as well as in the show. But yeah, we also get Erica with Robin, and Erica still wants to sample ice cream, and they've figured out that Erica's the only one that it can actually fit through the duck vents, and she's like, "Okay, I'll do it, but for the price of ice cream."
I knew she was gonna extort them. I was like, she's not gonna do this for free. And also, shame on you, Funko. You pretty much ruined this for me. Literally, look at the Erica Funko Pop. It's literally the same thing she was literally wearing in this episode. Like, really? Just really?
It's like they get exclusive access to like all the episodes, and they're like, "Hey, we'll make her look like that." Instead of like they could have had her with ice cream or something.
Exactly.
Like, in the script, but no. She has all her gear on and she's gone to run to help. And it's funny how they probably made her every single variety of ice cream accompaniment, like a banana split. I think they probably made her milkshakes. They've made her sundaes, and it's like, well, like, yes. And she's like, yes, but I want unlimited ice cream for my entire life. It's like, okay. It's like,
you're a kid. You would want the same thing. Well, not you, Mackenzie. Don't you like lactose intolerant or glucose?
yeah, gluten. So yeah, it's like wheat
There we
and
go.
stuff. Yeah, so it's like no ice cream cones. I was like everything else.
Oh, so you can still have ice cream. So yeah, so you would ask for the same thing as her age.
Yeah, they're like I want all of it. And plus she's like 10 or something like that too. So and we know that she has a sweet tooth because of her like one scene in season 3 where she's like pouring on all the syrup onto her waffle or whatever it is, or her pancake. She like pouring all the Mrs. Butterworth on her pancake. It's like, we know she likes sweet stuff. And I mean, ice cream's awesome, especially in the summer. So, but it's like you were saying last week. It's like if she keeps eating all this ice cream, she's not gonna fit through the vent. It's like in moderation, you can have the ice cream. It's like in moderation. But yeah, they get the ice cream, and yeah, they find out that the Silver Cat is a certain delivery company called Lynx Transportation that has a silver cat on it, and that the person going to China. So it's basically everything that happens in the mall. So it's like the Chinatown, and if you tread lightly, the whole thing, and she sees the clocks. So we get the armed guards, the Russian arm. Basically, what I'm getting to is we get the Russian armed guards and our crew outside, with the binoculars. The binoculars. It's like, let me with the fighting with the binoculars, and they just fall to the ground. It's like, wouldn't you like figure out that something's just falling and smashes on the, because those likely smashed on the ground. It's like, just go and look for where the binoculars are, even though you don't know where the indistinct sound is, but it's like you'd find it at one point, because it seems like they stay up there for quite a long time. So it's like, that's like fake out, but it doesn't even do anything, sort of thing. But
You really should have just like, stationed someone up there like immediately after that situation. Or even just have like more guards if you realize, wait a minute, these are actually binoculars here. These aren't from our men. I hope not. But yeah.
Or what is it, or like someone up there. You would think that you would have like guards like standing on the roof, or at least sitting on the roof, just being like, even if like under the wall part, like the alcove almost.
The guards are probably standing near Scoops Ahoy and just like waiting for someone just to come to get their freaking ice cream. But no one came because they were too busy there spying on the damn Russians.
Yeah, they're like dinging on the bell like Erica does. It's just like ding, ding, ding.
Mm-hmm.
It's like waiting because, like we established, they're the only two people that work there. There's no manager that ever works at Scoops Ahoy. Like the manager is either always in his own office or just like never exists. Dark. Oh no, Dark Mother. That's not good, but I can understand. Uh, Gluten allergies, they suck. They suck. And they usually always are also tied with dairy most of the time as well. Like if you have one, you're likely to develop an allergy to the other. That's what I know. Because I myself can have dairy, but like I could eventually develop an allergy to it, which sucks. Um, but I've lived with it now since I was 17. I'm 22 now, so not that bad. Um, but the like this whole subplot is just awesome to see these kids just like trying to take down the Russians with guns. So like, how can we do this? And it's like they've got guns, but we'll explore. She can't hear me. No, you can hear me, but she might be able.
Well,
Oh,
I could hear you. I don't
oh,
know
I
if
think
everyone
she
else in
meant
the
like I
chat.
can't hear you. Is like la 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 la.
No.
I think that's what she meant. I was like, wait, I'm not muted. um, but yeah, they get the armed guards, and that's kind of where we, because you get right, because when they're with the armed guards, they have that. Will they like? Are they gonna be a thing? Because Robin and Steve hold hands. They're like clutching hands, or whatever. As the
The
guards,
infamous clutching hand scene. Will they get together or not?
yeah, that's the question. Bum bum bum. Because that's like that whole thing. Because their relationship develops, but we'll talk about that more when it comes up. But I get that's kind of it, if I remember correctly, for all of the Dustin um,
They do
mall.
get inside, right? With Erica, thanks to Erica, right? This episode?
No, that's next episode.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, because that's what I get. Why I say it's like it's at least 2 episodes. If you start watching Stranger Things, you have to at least watch 2 episodes at a time, because it's like they're like mini movies that like they get cut in half. It's like yeah,
So true.
watch them together. Well, technically, I think this is how it's supposed to be structured. It's supposed to be structured as an entire movie that's chopped up between credit, like opening credits and then closing credits. I think that's what it's supposed to be. That's how it's like. It's supposed to be an entire movie that's like cut up into chunks. I think that's how they do that.
Makes sense. Because sometimes within this, it pretty much picks up like right where it left off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the fun part about the show. Is like yeah, it lends itself, even though most of us don't like it for theory crafting. If you're a theory crafting type of person for your TV shows, this lends itself though better to binging in the way that it's chopped up. If it wasn't chopped up in the way that it is and it gave breaks in between, like we had that week cycle, like more episodic, um, traditionally episodic, then it would be better. But how it's cut up makes it how it is, which is good and has its benefits and its negatives. I think we can talk about, although it's kind of quick, Hopper and Joy. So pretty much, Joy shows up at Hopper's cabin after Hopper has gotten out of the shower, and she doesn't even talk about the fact that she ditched him at dinner. And they go off to the lab, and some flashbacks happen of what happened last season. So, what do you think about Joyce and Hopper this season, and especially when they tried to not change their relationship, but like go on a date, so to speak. What did you think about that?
It wasn't a date, but according to Hopper, the way how he's feeling interacting with Joyce, it seemed like it was a damn day, and he still feels freaking butthurt about it. It's like, where was she? He was like, oh, with the freaking, science teacher. He's like, what? That's where you were? Instead of being at damn Enzo's. Again, if you plan something at Enzo's, it won't happen. You're jinxing it, Hopper. But yeah, this whole thing with Joyce and Hopper, comedical. I love the back and forth between it all. Just when it keeps happening again and again and again, inevitably it will get tiresome. But yeah, we do get those flashbacks about the lab from previous seasons stuff. Even more about Bob dying, and just seeing these Bob flashbacks. Like, well, we need it. We already are still hurting about the death of Bob. Just stop bringing it up. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they pretty much go back into the lab this episode, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then the freaking Terminator Russian dude comes out of nowhere and just low dips Hopper. Like, wow, Hopper, see what happens when you don't be eating apples and you're constantly eating those damn donuts? You get beaten.
And the waffles, because 11, I guess, has just stopped eating Eggos, so he has to eat them to get them out of the freezer.
True.
Yeah, like 11 hasn't really gotten her craving for Eggos has kind of subsided, so I guess Hopper has had to take up the mantle.
He's not eating because he's too busy sucking Mike's face all the damn time.
Yeah. Yeah. That she's on the kiss and don't tell diet, or whatever you want to call it.
Sounds about right.
Well, Hopper's on the seafood diet. He sees food and he eats it. Everybody's now talking about coffee and gluten in the chat. It's like, what are you? Everybody's just. I mean, it makes sense. Hopper does like his coffee. Yeah, and also in this, it's because Hopper gives that speech, so to speak, of like how he always wants Joyce to feel at home and protected at Hawkins, which lends more credence to they're probably moving away and they're breaking up the storyline at some point, which sucks. And I don't know why they decided to do that. And they don't explain where she's moving or what the plan is.
True. They gotta end up moving to New York to just be close to Jonathan, because isn't that was his plan, right? To go to college in New York. So that could be one possibility where she's like moving to, so she can be close to her son.
Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, New York State makes sense. Like somewhere like on the outskirts of New York makes sense.
Then again, no, don't bring them near me, because then I'm gonna think in some shape or form the Upside Down is gonna start coming near me. So no, don't put it in New York State. Somewhere closer there.
New Jersey, how about that?
That's still close. It's like less than an hour away from me.
Hawkins, Indiana is like, well, that's far away, but that's like not as far away as like
somewhere south, nowhere in the north.
Just go west and north, like over way far away. Yeah, it's that makes sense because although we never like got a scene where Jonathan's like, oh, I'm going to New York, or this is like, they never established the fact that they were leaving. Like, they didn't do that in like, we needed like a part of an episode where they established, like, I know this is jumping forward, but they never like established the fact of, oh yeah, in like 2 months from now I have to leave, like, ever. Like, they didn't like bring that into Jonathan's character at all, which makes me wonder if he actually ever got accepted into college, because typically if you have the older boyfriend and the younger girl in the year behind, that they would have that conversation over summer, but I guess they were too distracted by Driscoll to ever have that conversation. But you'd think that because if they're trying to portray an as normal relationship as possible, that they would maybe have that conversation. But I don't know. That's just me. What do you think about like that whole like the fact that they're moving away makes me go. Mm.
But it's questionable because you do bring up a good point where they don't even mention that he's going to be going to college this season at all. And I think based on the timeline, like he should be pretty much graduating by now, right?
Well, him and Steve, if him and Steve are in the same grade, Steve's graduated because that's why he's working at the ice cream shop. It's because he didn't get into whatever college he wanted to get into.
True. Which they really don't even mention, unless he was just like going to stay in a community college or even get that job just to wait for Nancy and then go to college with Nancy. But even then, we don't even know if Nancy even goes to college. I think way how it ends, it just seems like, oh, nothing still is mentioned about it. So,
yeah, the Duffer Brothers needed to fill in some plots. They were taking the season 8 of Game of Thrones approach. Just show us the bare minimum and don't fill in the plot information afterwards. But yeah, we get the Terminator.
Unless they're doing some type of online classes, is that a thing in the 80s?
Well, the computer was like, I know I'm gonna Dark Mother, or like Johnny will be like, wait, what? Because Johnny will probably know more with this, but it's like the computer was like relatively still new in the 80s. I'm assuming.
Fair point.
So I don't know if computer classes maybe were like I think maybe teaching you how to use the computer was a class, but not like a whole class based off of or classes being taught about it. But yeah, the freaking Russian Terminator like beats up Hopper. It's like, Hopper, what do you expect? This is an abandoned building. Always be on guard. But yeah, he has to get punched and beaten up. But at least he's fine for now. Word processors plus. Oh, I guess yeah, word processors since Dark Mother.
I'm drawing a blank on that. So pre-Apple, I guess.
I guess so. Yeah, like the ones where it's like just one screen. Yeah, because and also we get poor flashbacks to Bob, which just like drives a knife through some people's hearts that we lost Bob. Everybody's favorite dead character. No one cares about Barb anymore. Everybody just wants to cry over Bob. Which sucks, but hey. I mean, Bob was a good character. And who's Bob's actor again? I'm just drawing a blank for me right now. Hold on.
The guy who was in Lord of the Rings. Is it? I think I have it down here written. I know it begins with is it Sean something?
Let's see. Pull it up.
Yeah, Sean Austin, something like that.
Let's see. The show his name if I pull it up on the web. Yeah. Yeah. Sean Astin, whatever.
There we go.
And he was in
The Goonies, Lord of the Rings, and can't remember anything else.
Yeah. Vegara, Aaron. There is a person who was in Lord of the Rings. One of the characters who died is now in the sorry. Oh, sorry. The stream is now playing in my ear. But yeah, so there's a reason why to watch it. It's like, Lord of the Rings connection. But if I pull it back up my note, there we go. Man, the whole thing at the lab just it makes more sense. I think next episode, all the stuff happens. It's just exposition, but I think the last section we have to talk about is Jonathan and Nancy, as they're also known, Jancy, and Driscoll with the fertilizer. So, did you expect that to happen? What happened with the with the fertilizer and the old lady, Mrs. Driscoll?
Well, we saw like the rat like moving, or remained of the rat. I was like, okay, is it gonna kill her or something? But then we see it pretty much. I'm guessing it just possessed her at this point, which is interesting. Now that I'm thinking about it, because we pretty much see like first it has to like go to the mind flayer, blob thing, and I thought that's how it has to happen. That you have to like be in the presence of like the mind flayer and it does the transfer itself. But it just seems that wherever the rat goo itself can just go inside. I'm guessing he went inside of her and just started to control her. But yeah, I kind of felt sad because you've been waiting for an elderly character and this what happens to him.
Yeah, we've been waiting 2 seasons for a grandma or some elderly character to show up, and yet there she gets possessed. Like they hint at Matt, Mike, and Nancy's grandmother, but they never show her. So it's like, God dang it! Maybe next season, maybe in season 4, Grandma Wheeler, or whoever, like whatever Karen's maiden.
If we get Thanksgiving, have her over. Make sure she doesn't die or get possessed or whatever.
Yeah. It's like protect the kids, protect your teenagers, but also protect the elderly from the upside down. Um, and they get and then Richard and Jonathan go to Mrs. Driscoll's house, and because this story is something that they're gonna get in trouble with eventually, with the Hawkins Post, but because I think, yeah, because he finds out that she didn't actually somehow go to the doctor and that they actually went to Mrs. Driscoll's because of because they call Mrs. Driscoll a crazy lady because of what she says or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, which, I mean, she could have needed to go to the doctor, but then had a side visit to Mrs. Driscoll's house. I mean, it's not that like bad, but I mean, at the same time, it makes sense. But all these newspaper people just piss me off, and I'm happy that the head one is, or the boss is going to be part of this blob situation. It's like, because he needs to be a part of this blob situation, so he's not on the screen anymore. But
More for me was the coworker
the
that always can bring up Nancy Drew, because he's with the boss. He wasn't that much of a nuisance, because it seems like there were times where he was just like trying to what's the word I'm looking for? Mentor Nancy. There we go. He's trying to mentor Nancy at times, but with the others, they were just like, just hurry up and die too. I'm part of the blob.
It's Bruce, I think, because Gary. I think it's like that actor who's just like Nancy Drew or whatever. That guy's annoying too. He needs to go away. But yeah, like their whole just Nancy Drew. It's like, oh, just stop it. That's what I'd be kind of like Nancy. I'd be like, shut up. You mean Gary? Johnny. I don't want. Oh Jesus. But yeah, Bruce. Bruce is the guy's name, and yeah, they just get in trouble. But Miss and don't you go? Yeah, they just find her with the rat in the basement, and it just makes me just go like, what? Because more of the storyline comes later in this
Yeah, it
second.
was pretty much very brief between Nancy and Jonathan within this episode.
Mm-hmm. Before they have a fight again, where they just bicker. They've been just bickering a lot this season. It's like, why? Just because you both don't want to get your way. But I get the bickering about which isn't in this episode, but with the Lightroom, him trying to like make transfer the film onto to make the pictures. Like I get that type of bickering, but like we gotta figure this out. But whatever. I think that's all that we got.
Yeah, we pretty much tagged in all the subplots and stuff within this episode.
So, okay, time. So, what did you kind of like think about this episode? Was it like a good follow up to the last one? I know you reacted to this episode, and it's still okay on YouTube.
Yeah, this one is.
Yeah, because I know one of them.
I think the first one got like blocked. It was ridiculous. But yeah, this episode, this is a good setup episode. Probably give it like a 7 out of 10 type episode. Like 7 out of 10 child endangerment type episode here. And yeah, because it's pretty much setting up for what's going to happen in episode 4, which is probably one of my favorite episodes this season. So I can't wait to talk with you next week about episode 4. But yeah, it was pretty much like what you were even saying earlier. It's like they pretty much done this like in couplets to the point where it's like you watch one, you have to watch the next one. And just seeing what was set up in this one, oh, they really just delivered it with a punch next week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, episode 4, if you haven't watched it, even though we kind of slightly talked about it, that's a good episode. It's Billy. It's like Billy's in that episode quite a bit. Next episode. Yeah, Aaron, he comes in at season 2, so you just have to power through 8 episodes, but trust me, these 8 episodes are very, very good. Yeah, he comes in season 2. But yeah. What else do you have going on? If you want, or I can say my rating for the episode.
Okay, so yes, what I have going on, I'm going to be sometime tonight, if I have the energy after doing some homework, I will be editing and uploading a reaction to the first episode of Amazon's The Boys, which is pretty good. Like Thursday when it came out, which is almost a week tomorrow. Like I've been hearing a lot of good stuff about that damn show. I'm just watching the first episode and I'm like, wow, I can see what's the hype about it finally, and it's so far justifiable. Can't wait to see like the rest of how many? I think it's like 8 episodes within the first season or so. Yeah, and I literally had to like borrow my father's Amazon account so I can actually just just watch it for free. Because I want to do a pirate life this time. I was like, let me just be legit this time and actually watch it. As crispy as I can. But yeah, so far pretty good. I do recommend it if anyone just like want to watch like a quick Amazon series, So far, hey, Amazon got the Good Omens, and now they got The Boys. And soon they're gonna have Lord of the Rings. So they're pumping out some good stuff now.
Yeah, and they're gonna get Expanse as well.
I have to catch up on the Expanse though. Like I only watched 1 episode and I couldn't anymore. Like I don't know. Maybe I have to try it again. Everyone is saying it's like a first rough few episodes, a lot of setup and stuff, and then it hits at the finale, and then you'll get into it. I don't know. And hey, Chris, you just stopped in. At one point, I didn't know who that was. So that was like a new person. I normally see the profile picture first and just go by that. And I'm like, wait a minute. I've never seen this person before. And it says, oh, Chrissy. Oh, so yeah.
Yes, Chrissy. But yeah, I know because you do many reactions, so that's just one. You're always doing so many. But yeah, I watched, I think, the first episode. We watched, I think, the first episode, and it's really good. I enjoy it. Amazon's doing very well with their new shows that they've got picked up. Aaron. Oh Jesus. Well, yes, Chrissy, it's awesome, and I love your new profile picture. It is awesome. For me, I would give this episode, yeah, kind of like what you're saying. It's like a 7.5, 7.5. Wet and clammy, maybe. Oh, I messed it up. Dang it! I was thinking about it and then it didn't come out properly. 7.5. Wet and clammy, hand holding. The hand holding moments. Yeah, Chrissy says that the boys is so good you have to watch it. Get some holy water when you watch it, though. But thank you, Johnny, for dropping the link in the chat. But for me, coming up on the channel, I have the Mel makeup video recorded. It is just having some technical stuff that I have to work out. It's like recorded and uploaded, but then going back and listening back on YouTube, there's some technical stuff like in the background, which I have to fix. But it's coming, and it should be available for sometime soon, if not next Monday. The week after that one will be there will be a patron chosen, who I get to do the makeup inspired by. So they will choose that one, and then I'll just go back and forth because it's fun. And that, other than that, we're covering episode 4 for this series for Stranger Things, which is the sauna test. And yeah, I got some fun stuff coming up. We're working. I know people were talking. Were questioning about this for me after the stream on Saturday. We're working behind the scenes potentially. I'm thinking it may work out, but we're gonna try and do more ladies night editions of live streams because that's just so fun. But also we're going to try and work out to do something with Outlander, whether it's on my channel. We create a whole new group channel like we kind of do for Cylon Johns or something like that. It's in the works. Know that more streams with the ladies are coming, and we made something with Outlander. So, and also check out the Cylon Johns on Friday. We should be doing a live stream on Friday for episode 5. I can't remember what it's called, but we're gonna do that. And yeah, we got Fandom 3. It's kind of on hold right now, but go listen to some episodes. The episodes we got out, they're very good. And
wait, it's on hold? What happened?
behind the stuff with recording, it's just behind the scenes, some stuff going on.
Oh, so what you're saying is Justin's lazy. Okay, gotcha.
Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, we got that going on. But yeah, just go and enjoy those. And yeah, but before I go, we must shout out to the lovely patrons of the channel, Bobby Catalano. So go to Handmade by Bobby on Facebook. If you haven't done that, just go and do it. Go check out Bobby. And you can also check out Bobby talking as much as she talking about the Cylon Johns and claiming she knows nothing, but apparently she knows a lot, according to the Johns on Cylon Johns. Catherine Harding, Dark Mother, who's in the chat, Nancy T, the mother of blankets, as well as Katrin C, from my point of view. Those lovely ladies help support the channel very, very much, and they're going to help, they help with this content. They are so awesome, and yeah, it's called Collaborators. It's the new BSG episode. Thank you, Johnny. But yeah, that's kind of my spiel. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Facebook will likely be the easiest place for everybody to find out what's going on with new live streams and such, as well as check this space all the time. Like the video, or like or dislike the video, as Fandom D always says. and share it out, subscribe, and we'll see you all next week. Probably with an AK, because she missed out today, but she'll come back. And with that, we'll see you all very, very soon. Bye, everyone.